False Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, lead writer for Fansided. I'm joined today by a man who is cooking with gas, burning rubber. Don't know if it's a horse or, an actual rubber tree, but it's out there. Cody Williams, content director at fansided.com, the man who keeps this show together, the glue for our program. How are you?
I was about to say, yeah, all my horses end up being made into glue. I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's how that keeps happening. I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I mean, I'm feeling like the cheapest bucket of beef in Illinois right now. But on that note, you can follow.
Yo, Bagoya.
Yeah, I had a really rough go of it on Friday. So
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry.
you have one a year where you're just like, I'm gonna die, and that was it.
100%. We've all been there. But to pay for Bueller's medical bills, please give us a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, anywhere. Give us a subscription on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We love our subscribers. The starters are big time. And of course, donate on Buzzsprout. Always.
Yeah, man, I was in I felt like I was back in the Civil War, dying from what they all were in real time. Should have had a Salisbury steak and not any vegetables. Don't eat your vegetables, just eat your meat.
Had an Oregon Trail ass bout with that illness.
Not gonna mess around with dysentery Gary or anything like that, or all the small things. And on that note, let's get started with our first and 15 with It Don't Mean Enough.
Yes, sir.
Kirby Smart had some things to say. He appeared on the next round and he was trying to explain an impossibility, which is why the Big Ten's won three straight college football playoffs and the SEC has not. I wrote two articles about this, one for Dawn of the Dog, one for GBM Wolverine. There's other ones out there in the college network. You can definitely read them, but I don't know if I want to paraphrase what he said or you just want to get into it.
No, give a paraphrase because I've only barely seen this. You're obviously more locked in. I've been off for the past 3 days, so I don't know what's happening in anything.
Hell, yeah. All right. So from like a Big Ten perspective, it's like two different parts. So he can't really figure out why the Big Ten's on top. I think he kind of views it more of like it used to just be Ohio State and everybody else, but now Michigan's good or has been decent since Harbaugh has been there. Indiana's good. Now Oregon's in the league. And he believes that this allows the Big Ten to attract more good players. He believes NIL is a factor too, but so do other programs like Miami and Texas Tech. So, he didn't go out and say like everybody in the SEC was paying everybody under the table, but everybody was paying everybody under the table everywhere.
Yes.
These transactions are more over the counter.
No, 100%. I mean, I think I'm gonna go to a Coach O quote that I heard. I think he was on Bussin' with the Boys, and he said, we used to go in and pay them through the back door. Now we just go in through the front door. Like, I mean,
Pretty
that's
much.
that's what it is.
And then from like an SEC perspective, I think he's like, look, I've got a lot of respect for the Big Ten coaches. Are they better coaches than us? Maybe. They're taking less talent and doing more with it. But I think his real big beef here is he doesn't respect the bottom part of the Big Ten. He thinks that their 9-game conference schedule doesn't match up to what the SEC's was with 8, what it could be with 9. He's like saying, look, our bottom four is not their bottom four. Like Georgia's bottom four is like, okay, we got to play on the road in like Starkville or versus
Yeah.
Vanderbilt. And I'm freaking out. Whereas like Indiana's got to play, Wisconsin or at Purdue. It's not the same. And I think what his big thing here is like, yeah, there's a grind. People are beating themselves up to come out of the SEC, but teams like Georgia, Ole Miss, A&M, they got to empty the chamber to get this far. Whereas
Mhm.
Indiana is like, we can just sit back and not worry about this. Also, they're not playing anybody in the non-conference again this year. It's going to be great.
No, and I honestly I feel like Kirby's close to the point that I would probably make, but not quite getting there, which is the Big Ten benefits from you look at your Indianas, your Ohio States, your Oregons, and stuff like that. These teams benefit from being more battle tested because the top end of the conference has improved. So, when Indiana used to play Ohio State or Indiana used to play Michigan or Indiana used to play these teams in the Big Ten, did it really like battle test? It was one of these games that you're talking about at the bottom of the conference. The fact that some of these conference teams and that you've added Oregon and USC, the fact that that's in Washington for, even to that degree, the fact that you've kind of elevated that top half of the conference makes you more battle tested. But unlike the SEC, when you're talking about the bottom half of the conference, you still kind of get those like rest weeks to some degree. And rest week is a little derogatory, and I don't mean it that way, but games where you're not having to be on your A game, games where you're not having to empty the chamber, to use a phrase you did. And so like when you have that, like it kind of works out perfectly for these Big Ten teams to where they're, it's not years past where you get into a big game and it'd be like, holy shit, like this is the best team we've seen all season. Like now we're not in that case. Now we're in a much different like world with the Big Ten in terms of being battle tested, but they also don't have the same rigors of the full SEC schedule in the Big Ten.
You look at a team like Kentucky the last couple of years, scared the hell out of Georgia 2 years ago,
Hmm.
beat Ole Miss, and scared the hell out of Texas a year ago. And that team wasn't very good
Right.
offensively. So
Auburn
you
too.
get,
Like Auburn scared some teams
yes,
over the past couple years when they were literally on the verge of firing Hugh Freeze.
yeah, like the bottom of the Big Ten just doesn't have it. You've got the Marylands, you've got the Wisconsins, you've got the Purdues, you got Michigan State. Like there's nobody really like that in the SEC. Although I will say South Carolina was very pitiful towards the end of last year, but that they're not going to be that bad again this year. But
No.
I guess it's like maybe the fact that like I'm not talking. I'll take this back to Fernando Mendoza before we get kind of moving on with our show here.
Yeah.
People are gonna like unless he has a really stellar NFL career. People are gonna like say, oh, he didn't throw for a lot of stats or a lot of yards. I'm like, didn't have to play afterwards. It was Alberto time.
That's right.
Like the dude is throwing more touchdowns than incompletions. He had one of the most galvanizing Heisman campaigns I've ever seen. So if somebody out there is gonna try to tell me that like so and so is better than him, I'm like, it's like Christian McCaffrey didn't play anybody there. Derrick Henry was carrying the ball like 60 times and winning a national
Right.
championship.
Right. I mean, Bloomington was the real city of brotherly love. Like that's really what it boils down to, you know. But like, no, I mean, that's a great point. Like Indiana was such cream of the crop that like Fernando didn't have to put up those stats. And it wasn't like a JJ McCarthy thing where it was like we were a run-based team. Like, yeah, Indiana ran the ball, but like when you needed a big play, the ball was in Fernando Mendoza's hands. And you know what? He came up with a lot of those big plays. That's why they were undefeated national champions.
I mean, how many day two running backs did Indiana have drafted? And how many did Michigan have exactly?
Right, exactly, 100%.
So it's a hard question to answer. Kirby put a lot of thought into this. He didn't sound like a dumbass, so I'll give him credit for
No, I
that.
think he's very close to the answer. Like I think like he's touching on like a lot of like the touchstones of like what is going on for sure.
Yeah, there's like until we really get schedule uniformity across the board, we're going to run into these issues time and time again, and we're never going to because this is the world we live in, man.
Yeah, I mean like granted they haven't fully taken advantage of it even though they made the national championship game last year, but like Miami should be doing what old Ohio State was in the Big Ten because the
Yes.
ACC has no equivalent to Miami right now.
No, Florida State can't figure it out. They're in a financial chaos, and then Clemson's kind of circling the drain a little bit.
Yeah, Clemson's like Illinois essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's pretty good there. We did a good job with that. Let's move on to another topic here with you better Euro check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yes, sir.
CBS Sports looked at teams that are ranked in their top 25 way too early and said, okay, which playoff contenders are playing a hell of a lot of top 25 teams? And I'll just say the 12 teams that they've mentioned here, and we can pick and choose where we feel that having a challenging schedule matters or it
Mhm.
doesn't. So in the SEC, you've got seven teams. You got Texas at one, you got Oklahoma at two, Ole Miss five, A&M six, LSU seven, Georgia nine, Alabama 10. And in the Big Ten, you've got five teams. You got Ohio State at three, Michigan at four, USC at eight, Oregon at 11, and Indiana at 12. Now, I don't know how you carved this up, but I'm like, if the schedule is challenging and it matters, like it will impede what they're trying to do. And if it
Right.
doesn't matter, I'm like, this team is either not good enough where it's not going to matter, or they're too good where it doesn't matter.
Right. And I like the two most interesting spots to me are teams that have new coaches. Their coaches tied to each other in a very big way. But that's Ole Miss and LSU being on this list. And I think that interests me quite a bit because when you think about the post-spring top 25 and the teams that are going to be populating that, it's teams that are like essentially coached by the best of the best, like in the sport. And that in Ole Miss's case, you've got Pete Golding kind of entering unknown territory with what he looks like in a full season as a head coach. And when he faces this schedule, he's going to be doing so where at least assumedly he's going to be at a coaching disadvantage. And
Right.
with Lane Kiffin, I feel like a lot of the times he was kind of a mitigating factor and kind of like evening a bar if there was like a talent disadvantage that Ole Miss was at. We don't know if Pete Golding's going to be able to do that. And so like I'm really interested in that. Similarly for LSU, kind of the flip side of that, we've already heard Lane Kiffin talking about the roster, seeming like he wants more player, like he knows that this team needs more to like reach the heights they're going to get. And like I think we like for all the faults that Lane Kiffin has, I do think he's a good football coach and he knows what he's doing when it comes to the being on the field and like managing his team. But having said that, I do think he's also going to be against the cream of the crop, which he does not have the most stellar record against in his SEC career. And more importantly, he also feels like he doesn't have the roster or the talent advantage necessarily to get there. So like those are two teams that we're looking at as like on the cusp of being in the college football playoff, certainly not locks. And the fact that they're on this list and the number of top 25 opponents that they have to play, that would worry me if I was a fan of those teams.
So in my notes, I do think this having a challenging schedule matters for both. I for what team do I have up here first? For Ole Miss, one of the things I got on here is says, outside of Vanderbilt, I can't say for sure they're facing another team that's trending down.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not weighing too much in on like Charlotte and Wofford, but you got to play Louisville and Nashville to start. That's not easy.
Mhm.
LSU at Florida, and then I think really the big key here is you got Georgia at home. Maybe you get them there. You got to play at Texas. It's going to be very, very close for Ole Miss. I think for LSU, this is a problem
Yeah.
because you got at Ole Miss and then you host Texas A&M like the end of September. If you lose those, you're on life support before the season even begins. And well, I'll touch on Clemson later here in the show, but like how Clemson looks this year could dictate how LSU does.
Mhm.
I'm selling my stock at LSU right now.
No, I mean it's definitely concerning. I'm kind of on the fence if I'm being completely honest with LSU, which I reserve the right to be in May. I don't have to make decisions quite yet. I do want to throw out the fact that I think we should go ahead and put in Sharpie. Antonio, we're going to Oxford for Lane's return. My God,
Yeah, I'll tell you off air where we're going to start the season off with and what we're going
hell
to do
yeah!
for that. It's going to be unbelievable.
Can't wait, can't wait.
It's in the G6, so just be
Yes,
prepared. All
hell
right.
yes.
Any other ones on here where you're like, it doesn't matter. Like the team's either too good or the team's not going to be good enough. Where like I don't really care that they're playing a lot of good teams. It's whatever.
So the two that stand out to me are number one and number three on the list, which is Texas and Ohio State. Like I think the fact that they're at the top, like you're talking about very difficult schedules. Here's the thing. If these teams are as good as they are supposed to be, it won't matter. And like that's kind of where I'm at with that. Like they play each other obviously in the second week of the season, but like you look at these two teams and it's like, okay, if Ohio State with Julian Sayin in year two and Jeremiah Smith and a defense that's supposed to be reloaded, like if this team is as good as we think they're going to be, they're better than everyone in the Big Ten. So it should not matter. If Texas like whatever happens against Ohio State, I honestly feel like doesn't really hurt their play unless they get blown out, like which I don't think is going to happen. Uh, that's not going to hurt their college football playoff chances. When you go into the SEC, I think it's Georgia is their only peer in the conference, and then I think there's a drop off between those. So like they should be able to handle their business and get into the college football playoff. So like I look at these two teams, and if they are as good as they're supposed to be, it will not matter. Whereas like there's a lot of these other teams on this list, we have serious questions about who they are in terms of their roster and what they're supposed to be, which makes the schedule stuff more concerning. With these two teams, I don't feel that way.
Ohio State, I completely agree with you. It's hard for me to see them losing 3 games with their schedule. Look, if they go 10-2, they're going to make the playoff. There's
Mhm.
really and you also have to factor in that they're just immensely talented. I do think it matters a little bit with Texas. And again, you bring up the point where like Georgia's their peer, but like this is going to be like Georgia's schedule from a year ago where it's just a brutal
Mhm.
gauntlet. And I'm like, oh, I think they're going to make the playoff. If they face Georgia and Atlanta, I don't think they're going to beat Georgia.
Mhm.
This may cost them like getting as far as they want to potentially in the playoff, but like they're a lock to pretty much make it at this
Yeah.
point. I just think it matters in like terms of like the marathon of it all, not necessarily the sprint.
No, and that's a very fair point. Like I was thinking more in terms of just like will they like poo-poo their entire college football playoff chances because of this schedule, and like I just don't see that happening with either of those teams.
And I think there's two teams in the SEC I would talk about before we move on. I'll
Yeah,
talk about Oklahoma. I think it matters, and Alabama where it doesn't. Don't think it matters.
I would agree with both of those. Absolutely, Oklahoma definitely matters.
I don't think Oklahoma belongs amongst this group. I think their schedule is absolutely disgustingly brutal. Like it's okay, you host UTEP, then you got to play at Michigan, and then you host New Mexico, who might win the G6.
Mhm.
Then you go at Georgia, you're off, and then you're on the Cotton Bowl. I mean, you could be out of this thing before Halloween even starts, dude.
100%. Yeah, I mean it's the Brent Venables hot seat talk might have just been put on pause if we're being clear about this.
Yeah, like they're gonna be like, unless John Mateer plays phenomenally, they're gonna have to overcome a lot. I don't see them back in the playoff with this.
Which, to be clear, I don't want to like John Mateer's first season in Oklahoma was definitely a roller coaster, no doubt about it. But like, I don't want to rule out like a year two jump. Ben Arbuckle gets more experience playing in the SEC and in the in the P4. So does John Mateer as well. Like, I'm not going to rule out the idea of them making a jump because it's entirely possible. We've seen it 100 times. Like, it's a very like normal trajectory for QB and OC to go through. But it's a high degree of difficulty to do that.
But can they grow up a lot since dinner? I don't
That's
know.
that's right.
And I don't think this will do you any joy. I don't think Alabama's schedule is really that hard. In a way, you probably disagree with me here, but like I kind of feel like if they take care of business, I think like less cooks in the kitchen. Obviously, Jamarcus Shepard goes to Oregon State. Nick Sheridan goes to Michigan State. This is Ryan Grubb's offense. Defense will be pretty good. We think they're going to get good quarterback play. Your hardest road games at LSU, again, we don't really trust. As long as you kind of split a little bit between what Georgia at home and then you got who else you got? An A&M. Like the chances of you going 10-2 and making the playoff are pretty good. The schedule kind of breaks more in your favor. But again, like in terms of like making the playoff, I think it helps. In terms of advancing, I don't think it really does.
So I don't disagree with you that I don't think this schedule is like all that daunting. I still don't know if Alabama's going to navigate it because again, I come back to the point of Austin Mack. I feel like I'm just like being an asshole to this kid, but like I'm not trying to be, but like I just think in terms of what Alabama needs to do, it's very clear to me in what terms of the trajectory is. When you talk about that schedule, there's a lot of teams that I would describe as kind of volatile. Whereas if you catch them on the week where they're playing their A game and you have Austin Mack and you're only playing a B game offensively and your run game isn't all the way fixed, they're gonna clip you. Whether or not
Yeah,
it looks like a challenging game looking at the schedule right now, like the more I look at this schedule, I just feel like, yeah, like 10-2 is possible and probably the like you would probably consider it the most likely outcome. The way I'm looking at Alabama and my concerns about Alabama are that they're going to lose those two games, but they're also going to drop one that they shouldn't. And like that's where I come into this with Alabama.
I kind of look at them as, excuse me, as Oklahoma a year ago. Like they'll
Mhm.
be very one-sided, but very flawed. They'll be fun in some ways, and then they'll be painfully frustrating in others.
Yeah, 100%. There'll be some Alabama games this year where it's like, why did I just waste 3 hours of my life watching this? That was not a fun experience.
Watching John Mitchell and Nick Rum go through it in real time is just, but yeah, I think that's pretty good here. But I think there's one team on here that we didn't see, and that's Texas Tech. And got a question to ask for you now, man. Let's do some do Hast, do Hast.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Should Brendan Sorsby try to fight the NCAA before entering the supplemental draft, or should he should just go?
So I'm gonna go do Host 1S, which probably surprises you a little bit, but it comes from a point, and I wish I could credit who I saw make it on Twitter. It was someone in the college football sphere of like people I respect, but basically saying that the entire reason he's fighting it is to expedite the process and to find out like, look, if I'm gonna get like some left eligibility left, then I would love to stay in school for another year. But like, if not, I want to know now because the supplemental draft happens probably in July. We know the NCAA likes to drag this stuff out. So like from that perspective, like yeah, like try to get a definitive answer to determine what your future is going to be. Because I think that's where I'm coming down is like looking at not from a like is it a futile like fight? It might be. It probably is if we're being completely honest. But like I would rather get that out of the way and know what my future is going to hold than kind of be held in limbo with no real option that I can take.
And I think that's totally fair, and I think that's a really good angle. I should have probably taken that, but I'm not going to.
Don't.
I'm gonna go do Haas two S's because I think he's DOA, man. I think he's cooked. I think that like you're getting legal advice here. And I think also the fact that like the NCAA is going to be looking at these three schools.
Mhm.
It's going to look very intently at Texas Tech, incredibly crucial at Cincinnati and at Indiana as well. And I think the fact that two of those three teams are playoff viable, and Cincinnati looked good at times last year with Sorsby. They want to get this thing through. Like they don't want to perform an autopsy. They want to
Right.
just like, put him in the ground and move on with it, as some sort of very nefarious nature here. I think that like the NCAA, it just seems like they don't want to have their games feel like it's kayfabe. And at
Mhm.
that point, you're screwed at this. You're screwed here. I mean, you've already got Pat McAfee doing God knows what up on stage, so it's it's theatrical to begin with. But
Right.
I just kind of feel like, look, maybe I'd get ready for like the supplemental draft here. You'll be like a third round pick by somebody. I don't think because like last time anybody's been taken was in like 2019, and
Yeah.
like nobody's been used a first round pick on since like we could read.
Yeah,
So
it's been decades. It's been a
it's
minute.
been a minute here, but you get him into camp. I don't know necessarily know who you'd bring in or who doesn't care.
I mean, like honestly, if you're the Jets, it would make a ton of sense. Like Geno Smith's your starting quarterback, and you're looking at Russell Wilson as your backup. Like Brendan Sorsby is kind of a gift if you're in that situation.
You're Miami. What do you honestly have at this point? If you're well, you have Beck there in Arizona, but like what Cleveland,
I mean, Arizona clearly values Carson Beck higher than I did because the 65th pick is wild. But
I think you got to figure out what states that there's not legalized gambling in. I mean, honestly, come on down, man. We'll see if you can
that's
play
right.
here.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Get a righty in the mix. Let's go. Well, you got
Get
to
it
mix
right.
up the rotation.
I know the rotation of the football. That's what we're talking about here. But I do think, what do you ultimately think is going to happen here with Sorsby in his legal case?
I mean, I truly think that like he's going to be ruled ineligible. Like I just don't see a way around it. It seems like there's a pretty overwhelming amount of evidence just based on the reporting, which probably doesn't even include all of the evidence that they have. Like we're being reported enough that I think like what's being reported, I think is enough for him to be ruled ineligible. So like if there's stuff that's also not being reported in this, like I just don't really see a way where this ends. So like that's kind of why I came down on the side like this is probably a little bit futile, but like at the same time, like get it over with, get it out from hanging over your head. And I think he's going to end up in the supplemental draft, and we'll see where he goes there. And like to be clear, like it does seem like the kid had a problem. Like it doesn't seem like this was someone like trying to like bend the rules. It seems like someone who just like legitimately had a problem with this. Like again, we talked about it, like betting on balls and strikes at a baseball game. Like brother, that's a level that I just can't quite get behind. And like I hope he's getting the help that he needs, and I hope he goes on to have a good career. Like yeah, it was a dumb decision, but I don't think it's one he should pay for like the rest of his life by any stretch of the imagination.
Pay for a flip phone so you can't gamble on your phone.
That's right, dude. Get you one of those like survivalist phones. Let's go.
Get you that brick phone I found in Munich.
That's right, 100%.
You focus on your photography a little bit. Don't worry about gambling. But yeah, I do hope you get the help. He gets the help that he needs. But I'm of the belief that the evidence is mounting. They got to get this out. They want to push this on through here and everything like that. And just kind of with the eligibility concerns surrounding all this, like there's no way they're going to be able to clear him here. I don't see how that's going to. I'm like, there's maybe a 10% chance that that's going to happen, but like he needs
That
to get
might be
ready for the
high
supplement.
too, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it might, yeah, like I'm looking at like 3-4% chance.
And then the other thing is Texas Tech needs to move on and forward with their season. They got to
Hmm.
say, okay, I know Will Hammond's coming off an injury. We got to get him a boatload of reps. And also, like, this will carry over into Texas Tech season.
Hmm.
Like this, the negative clouds surrounding this, for better or worse, will linger, and you'll have like a 9-win ceiling here.
Hmm.
And then it also has some sort of eyes looking at Cody Campbell's books
Hmm.
and his businesses. And I don't know if there's a lot of cash-based transactions here, but drill baby drill.
We just got to keep drilling. That's the only solution here for Texas Tech.
I'm not going to drink your milkshake here. Let's move on to our next topic here with playoffs. You kidding me?
That's right.
We're going to spend a lot of time on this. That's why we're kind of trying to fire through these
No,
these ones.
100%.
So because Texas Tech, we view them in a different light now. We've also not done this in a few months. We're going to
Hmm.
reveal our projected 12-team playoffs and our first four teams out. I believe the top two picks now get to pick their path through the playoff.
Yeah, I think you're right, 100%. So we'll see what you've always been better at that than me. So I did not account for that here, but we'll keep going.
It's okay. You're like a dog. I'm here now.
That's
The Hansel,
right.
the Hansel, I'm here, man.
That's right.
All right. This is going to be wild. I don't know how much overlap we're going to have. This is going to be great. All right.
No,
Who,
100%. So we're starting
who
at the
is
bottom, right?
we're starting at the how do you want to do this? You want to start at the bottom?
I mean, we can
Uh,
start at one. We can start at we can start wherever you want to, brother.
all right. Let's do let's do let's add intrigue here. Let's do 12.
Okay.
Who's one of the group of six?
This is the most May pick of all time. I'm going with Boise State. We'll
Let's
see
go,
what
brother.
happens. I have no idea, brother. Like I haven't dug fully into G5. I know that there is a lot of turnover in the usual suspects that we're looking at in the G5 in terms of, you look at Tulane losing John Summerall, you look at Memphis kind of being in a little bit of disarray after losing Ryan Silverfield. So like the usual suspects are kind of like all over the place right now. And Boise's not. Boise kind of seems like they're just going to be consistent with what they're doing. So like right now, that feels like the safe pick. I'll probably have get a wild hair at my ass at some point and choose someone else for number 12, but that's where we're at right now.
So Boise's playing in the Pac-12 now. I've got UNLV winning the Mountain West. I think Mountain
Mm,
West is going to have some really good football this year
yeah.
with UNLV, New Mexico, Hawaii. There's another team. I think North Dakota State's playing in this too.
Oh yeah, I keep
So
forgetting about that. Yeah.
that league's going to be a lot of fun here. And I think Dan Mullen's it's going to come down to them or like New Mexico potentially winning that league. And if it's UNLV, they've got the credibility to win that. And they're going to get smoked in the first round here.
They are. Yeah, I mean it's not going to be pretty, but well, we wish them the best.
All right. So here's my question. Do you have a P4 qualifier as your 11? If not, we'll move somewhere else.
I like an automatic qualifier?
Yes.
I do not. No, I have an at large at number 11.
Okay. So I will do 11 for me is where I have BYU.
Okay, I have BYU at 10, so like I'm not like that
Yes.
different. So like we're seeing the boards similarly, but I have USC at 11. I think USC
Okay.
sneaks in as the 11 seed, and like I think that they will take enough lumps in the Big Ten that the BYU kind of looking like they might run through the Big 12 now with the turmoil at Texas Tech. Like I think that'll give them enough juice. Like I don't think they're gonna have as much juice as Texas Tech a year ago, but I do think they'll have enough juice to not be like the 11 seed essentially.
I don't know if we screwed this up or not. We're rusty, but yeah, USC is my last team in.
Okay, nice.
So I have them at 10.
Okay, so we just flip-flop those two, which good call.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll unpack that here. I guess it's like if the Big Ten's going to get like four teams, then I trust them a little bit more than
Yeah,
Michigan.
100%. I'm right there with you.
All right. I guess let's go to the top now.
Okay, let's go to the top.
All right. Who's your
Uh,
one seed?
I mean, not surprising you, and I know you don't have them at number one, but I have Texas at number one. I'm dangerously all in on this.
It's easy to reach you like a book. I have them in the top 10. So like, I have them in the top nine.
Well, I would hope so. Damn it.
One for me is Ohio State.
Okay, I mean it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, like if you don't have either of these two teams in, like you know what you're talking about, like this is they're top they're two of the top they're each like top two or three teams in their respective conference. And that's power two they're making it.
Yeah, I mean, I have Ohio State at number two. Like, it's not a lot of drama here. It's one of those for me. Truly, for me, it's SEC champion in Ohio State at one and two. I'm assuming you have Georgia as your SEC champion.
I do, but I don't have them at two. I have
Okay.
Miami at two.
Ooh, nice. Okay. I'm a little bit lower on Miami than you are. I have them in the field to be very clear, but like I am a little bit lower on Miami.
I mean, they're probably not going to beat Notre Dame in
Mm-mm.
South Bend, but I
Yeah.
think Notre Dame loses in Provo.
Okay.
So like Miami, like you maybe lose one conference game. If that, you're 10-2, you're 11-1, you're gonna get to Charlotte. And if you're playing like Louisville, Clemson, SMU, whatever, I like your chances of advancing because there's a little more obvious there. And I've got Georgia at three as the SEC champion.
Okay. So I'll go to three and where I have Notre Dame because I think Notre Dame is good enough to get the three seed from the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. And that's as nice of a thing as I'm going to say about Notre Dame because I don't think that they're good enough to win a national championship. I truly don't. I just don't think that they are on that level. I think that one of the wildest things we've seen develop early in the offseason is this like push behind CJ Carr. CJ Carr played good last year. I'm not denying that, but like I didn't see flashes of greatness either. And like people are acting like he's going to be great. They're acting like he's going to be Fernando Mendoza for Notre Dame. And like I didn't see that. That wasn't something that was on my radar. that schedule's not very daunting. Even if they lose in Provo, which I don't think that they do, I still think that there's a chance you could give them a top four seed because I do think that when I look at a lot of the teams in college football right now, I don't see a lot of great teams. I see a lot of very good, like even Ohio State and Texas and Georgia, like three teams that I would probably have in the upper echelon. I don't think I'm comfortable calling any of them great right now.
Yeah, I've got Notre Dame at 4.
Okay, I have
Kind of
Georgia
just
at four too, so like we have very similar top fours.
I just kind of feel like Notre Dame's going to navigate this schedule. Again, you're going to have a high quality win over BYU. And then
Yeah.
there's going to be the whole Notre Dame Miami debate. Like, oh, you beat Miami,
We get
but
to do this again. Hell yeah, I
we should
can't
do this
wait.
again. And Miami's going to be ahead of them because they won their conference.
Hmm.
So, because that's it. That's important here. But like the CJ Carr narrative is getting insane. I mean,
Hmm.
he's going to end up being like Jimmy Clausen, dude. I don't see it at all.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Nah. Uh, does he have the personality of Brady Quinn? I don't think so either. So that's too bad for all of us. So at 5 for me, the team that won't die, the Indiana Hoosiers.
Hell yeah, dude, you're high on Indiana. I like that. Hell yeah, let's go.
I think they're the one team in the Power Four that could get to a conference championship undefeated.
Okay. Is that largely schedule based or?
Yeah, because like I don't think Michigan's gonna beat them. I think that
Mhm.
I'll pull up their schedule real quick and just to scan it because I did this for the previous iteration here. So yeah, 12th hardest schedule. I mean, you play North Texas, Howard, and Western Kentucky, the non-conference. There's nothing for me.
I mean, that's the Kurt Signetti special right there.
Yeah, Northwestern, at Rutgers, at Nebraska. So you're already going to be bowl eligible before you host Ohio State. I think that they would probably split with the Buckeyes. Like, I don't think that they're going to beat them 3 times in a row, dating back to last year. Maybe they get them at home. Maybe Ohio State beats them in Indy again. I don't. You got to play at Michigan, whoop-de-doo Basil, Minnesota at home, whatever. You're off. Then you host USC. I think that's tough for the Trojans. They really struggle going across the country. You got to play at Washington, who might. We'll see how they are, and then you host Purdue. So like that team's going to go like 11-1, man.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And maybe based on the schedule, I'm a little low on them. I have them at seven. So like I still have them hosting a playoff game, don't get me wrong. But I just think I don't know. Like I feel like if we go through kind of like if an easy schedule narrative were to develop for Indiana, I think 2024 is still going to be in people's minds and they will be penalized for that.
And I've got Texas at 6. I kind of feel that like I go back and forth on if Ohio State can beat them in DKR. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Schedule's really challenging. And I think as long as you don't play Georgia in Atlanta, you can win the SEC. And as long as Georgia doesn't play Ole Miss, you can win the SEC.
Hmm.
It's going to be kind of a grind to get there, and I want to see them try to do it. But like, look, they're going to get 10 wins. The problem is like if you're 10-3, I don't think I can have you any higher than like 6 seed.
No, I agree there. I have Miami at five. I don't know if I said that. That's where I have Miami. I mean, I think that they're going to run away with the ACC, like, or at least they should. And like, but I think they probably drop one because history has told us Miami's going to drop a game that they shouldn't.
Yes.
And whether that's Notre Dame or someone else, like that's just kind of what we know about Miami at this point. But I do think that they're going to be dominant enough that they will still very comfortably host a first round game.
I keep forgetting this is Miami football.
That's
They
right.
always do it. So who'd you have at 6 now?
At six, where I have Oregon,
6 is
and
Oregon.
then seven is Indiana. So I have Oregon and Indiana. You can interchange those for me honestly because like I still don't trust Oregon, but like I do understand like why you would be high on Oregon. Like looking at speaking to the post spring top 25s that we've referenced on here and stuff like that. They were at number three on CBS Sports' post spring top 25. And like, I understand why you would be high on that because we talked about it. Like, I like the direction that Dan Lanning and this team are taking where it is more experienced. It's less like all additions from the portal and like, oh, look at this team we've compiled. No, it's kind of a lot of guys that you already compiled and now have another year of experience together, which I really like for what this program, what they can do. And maybe that is like the missing piece of what they need to get to the next level. We'll see though. But like, it's with Oregon, I'm very much in a I'll believe it when I see it territory.
I have Oregon at 7. Again, like I'd be foolish not to have them in the field. Dante Moore is my early pick to win the Heisman
Mhm.
Trophy. I feel he's gonna have to do a lot and he's gonna have to grow up a lot. I don't think he's he's kind of got a fear Pete component to him. He just D'Angelo Pons is just his harbinger of death.
Yes, 100%.
Oregon's schedule is much harder than it was a year ago. I think they lose it. I think they lose on the road early at USC. I think that that gets the Trojans into the playoff.
Hmm.
But then you host Michigan, you'll basically knock them out.
Hmm.
You've got some games here. As long as you take care of business versus Washington and don't play with your food, you're probably going to win 10 games. I don't know if you're going to get to. I don't think you're as good as Ohio State, and I don't think you're going to have the record of Indiana. So I don't think you're going to get to Indianapolis, but you'll
Yeah.
make the playoff field. Um, I hope that this team levels up because I think that they took advantage of a pretty weak schedule a year ago
No,
across the
I
board.
no, and I completely agree. Like that's why they're only at six for me. Like I'm not considering them as someone who's as a program that I'm like feeling good about potentially getting a bye.
And I think coordinator attrition is an issue. I think Josh Lapoy and Will Stein being replaced by Chris Hampton and Drew Manger is gonna it'll cost him at least one game this year.
Yeah, I mean, like, and if for nothing else, just for inexperience. Like, we're not trying to like say those guys are bad at their jobs, but they've never done this job before. So, like, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
All right. We got 8 and 9. We got to figure this out. Who is at 8 for you?
I mean, I'm just gonna give you this matchup because it is very indicative of Alabama, Oklahoma in the 8-9 last year. I got LSU hosting Texas A&M, baby. Like two teams that I don't particularly trust a whole lot, but I believe in the coach. I believe in the talent, and I think they just like play their way in here. And whichever one of these teams wins this game is going to get their ass kicked. So like that's kind of what I'm looking at with these two teams.
I've got A&M at 8. I feel pretty comfortable about that. I think for me, schedule's challenging, but like it'll reward you. It's the
Hmm.
antith like everybody had an easy schedule a year ago has a hard one now. A&M's
Yeah,
is hard as shit.
it's not a fun time. No.
No, this is a be in the bathroom for 15 minutes kind of shit. Did you die? No, I was reincarnated.
Yobagoya. It's the Yobagoya schedule.
Pretty much. I think Colin Klein going to K-State's addition by subtraction. I
Mhm.
think Hallman Wiggins will view this a little bit differently from like a receiver sort of standpoint. Elko is still going to have the defense there. More importantly, I think A&M kind of broke through a mental glass ceiling that I think that they'll be able to play with a lot of confidence, which is maybe what Oregon will probably do this year too.
Yeah,
My concern is like I don't think you're going to beat Texas or Georgia in Atlanta if you get there. But I also think like if I'm going to bet on, I don't bet. I'm not.
yeah.
Um, but if I was going to forecast a third SEC team to make it behind Georgia and Texas, it would be A&M.
No, and I think that's fair. Like I feel like I have LSU as the higher seed. That's kind of like me putting my neck out more than anything. Like I think Texas A&M has a much higher floor than LSU does in this season.
So who's 9 for you?
A&M. So I have
Okay,
LSU
A&M.
and yeah, it's LSU hosting A&M.
Okay, nine. I've got Alabama.
Okay,
Yeah, just
which
because like
you're
I
not surprised that they're not in my field, but
no, no, not at all. I kind of feel like they'll get in like again like no, I feel like if quarterback play is good, again, I'm kind of banking on it's going to be Russell over Mac. If it's Mac, it's probably not going to be that good. But
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like DeBoer is kind of putting his flavor on whatever they're trying to do here, and maybe it'll work out here. So let's see some playoff. Yeah, who's your first four out?
So I have Oklahoma, Michigan, Texas Tech, and Ole Miss, which again kind of shows you where I am on Alabama. I'm probably going to regret that. Like betting against Alabama is not particularly profitable, but I I just kind of threw that like we can talk about what losing Sorsby means to Texas Tech. I still think Texas Tech's going to be a very good football team, and they also play in the Big 12, which is not exactly like a conference that scares me top to bottom. So like the more I look at this, the more I'm like Texas Tech is going to be in the mix. I just don't like. I could see it very much being a role reversal of BYU and Texas Tech from a year ago, where BYU dominates those games because they're just simply a better, more well-constructed team when Texas Tech
And
doesn't have Sorsby.
I think that's fair. So my first four out, I've got Ole Miss, Michigan, LSU, and then Texas Tech. And the Red Raiders edge out Arizona State and SMU. And Oklahoma is nowhere to be found. Like
I mean,
I'm
fair,
just
completely fair.
yeah. The Alabama and Oklahoma, somebody's going down here.
Somebody's got to hate somebody. You know what I mean?
All right, give me some first round matchups here, man. Let's see what you got.
Okay, so we got Miami hosting the Boise State Broncos. Tough for Boise.
Yeah.
Fun one. Oregon hosting USC, which give me some Pac-12 championship vibes and Eugene. Hell yeah, like I'm here for that. Indiana hosting BYU. Two of the best coaches in the country going after it, let's get it. And then LSU hosting A&M, which obviously a rematch, but it's always a fun one, so we'll take it.
Yeah, rivalry game. And Oregon USC's rematch too. That's pretty good too.
Yeah.
So 5-12 for me. I've got Indiana hosting UNLV. Dan Mullen's just gonna walk into like Michigan. He's got no chance.
Kurt Cignetti's just going to put him in a headlock.
Um, he's gonna drive a bus over top of Dan Mullen's head and crush his skull.
Yes,
But
correct.
pop him like a pea. Uh, 6-11, we got the Sark Bowl with Texas hosting his alma mater, BYU.
Hell
Love that.
yes. I love that. That's so good.
Um, I'm gonna give BYU like a 5% chance to win that game, but probably Texas will probably roll.
They'll play, they'll be in the game.
They'll be there. And then 7-10, I've got Oregon USC in a rematch, except this one's gonna be in Eugene.
Hmm.
Like the Ducks to win that to avenge that loss. And then 8-9, I've got A&M hosting Alabama. That'll be a slobber knocker.
That game's going to end with like a weird score. It's going to be like 22 to like 15.
It's gonna be like 13-4.
Yeah,
Like
it's going to be scoregami. I would almost guarantee it.
it's gonna be scoregami. And and I said four there for our next topic here, which is 4 for 4.
Yes, sir.
Who is each college football playoff? Hold on, I read that wrong. Who is each Power Four league's agent of chaos?
Hmm.
Basically, this team's not making the playoff, but they're gonna ruin someone's season of trying to get there.
100%. 100%.
Who do you
So,
have as the ACC sleeper agent of chaos? Professor Chaos.
to be clear, this team is not a good football team, but there are components that made me think they're going to be an Agent Chaos. It's the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Let's
Let's
go,
not
brother.
forget that Bobby Petrino is the offensive coordinator for this team. And if there's one thing I know about Bobby Petrino, doesn't guarantee that your team's going to be good, but you're gonna like give someone a scare or upset somebody because they're just not ready for this offense. And like again, North Carolina's probably not making a bowl game, but if they were to play someone like a Clemson, someone like I'm not looking at their schedule, I don't know who they play. But like if like I can just see them upsetting someone who is like in the ACC mix that we're talking about here because they just weren't prepared for a Bobby Petrino offense. And like randomly North Carolina and this Petrino offense put up 48 in a game and the other team's like, well, hell, we can only score 34. So like I think that like they have a real chance to like give some teams some scares.
They play some very interesting teams this year. So you play TCU in Ireland, that could ruin their season. You're at Clemson. If you beat them there, that ruins their season. You host Notre Dame.
Hmm.
The Duke game could ruin the Blue Devil season. Also, you host UNC. No, UNC hosts Miami. You
Hmm.
also host Louisville, and then obviously you got two rivalry games to end the season there at Virginia, and then hosting NC State. So yeah,
Like again, they're not making a bowl game by any stretch of the imagination. But if they were to like knock off one of those teams, like kind of in their ACC or CFP hopes, like that's very much in the cards, in my opinion.
and that's who I've got for my team. I got the Cards, Louisville Cardinals.
Hell yeah, love it.
I think Lincoln Kienholz is going to play very well for Jeff Brom. I don't know if this team can play a lick of defense, but like they're going to hand somebody a loss like whatever Clemson cannot afford to have or SMU cannot afford to have. Louisville's going to do it. Like
Yeah,
Louisville's going to like they did it like last year. They almost cost Miami a chance at the playoff.
right, 100%.
They might beat Miami and like in Charlotte like, well, I guess we got to put them as the 12. Like what are we going to do here?
Oh no, we're in this conundrum again because of the ACC.
Yeah, the birds with teeth and the denim chicken.
Hey, some birds got to play.
Birds gotta play. I also threw Clemson here too because like look, I think getting Kate Klubnik out of the building is tremendous.
Yeah.
That's like changing soiled underwear.
Yeah, 100%. That's crapping your pants and changing your pants, not changing your shirt.
Shout out Josh Beckett.
That's right, my boy.
I don't know how much better Christopher Vizina is going to be, but like he can't be worse than Klubnik.
No, not at all. It's a low bar.
All
You've got
right,
a comfy position there.
100%. All right, Big Ten. Who's the agent of chaos for you?
Oh, it's cousin Demond and the Washington Huskies, baby. You know it is.
Yeah, dude. I've got them there.
I
I
mean,
love to,
oh, go
yeah,
ahead,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, please go ahead.
No, I think the fact that Jed Fish is not going to be going to his alma mater of Florida, and he's going to have to, entrench roots here, albeit in the temperate rain there of Seattle.
That's right.
That's going to help him, and he's going to make it work. Cousin Amon's going to make it work. I mean, you could spoil Oregon's season pretty
Hmm.
good. You could ruin USC's hopes here. I mean, there's a non-zero chance that Washington makes the playoff. The problem is you can't lose to teams like Wisconsin.
Right. And like I still think that's very much in the cards. Like I
Yeah.
still think Cousin Demond is a very like high variance option that you're looking at there. Honestly, I was actually thinking about this the other day. Demond Williams is who we kind of talked about Aiden Childs being. Like kind of like that
Yes.
high variance where like the upside can absolutely win you football games. The downside can absolutely lose you football games. And like, but like I think that they're capable of playing with most teams in the Big Ten.
Yes. Nathan Childs just didn't win games.
No, he's just not he just might not be good.
Nah, nah. He really upgraded in academia from Oregon State to Michigan State to Northwestern, man.
That's right. You know, he knows that there's a life after sports, apparently.
We got to make your life a little more challenging, man. It's about leveling up.
That's right. 100%.
Mr. Chaz. I also don't think Penn State's going to be bad. I think that like they're going to potentially look. I'll throw this in here. Last year was the anomaly.
Oh
They're
yeah.
going to get back to kind of what they were. And even though I think coming in there with a bunch of Iowa State players is probably not going to make Penn State all that good, I will say the Rocco Beck's got a lot of starts. And more importantly, Iowa State, when you play in the Big 12, you have to play very competitively.
hmm
A lot of games that are very close. And I think that Penn State didn't necessarily have that. I think this allows them to knock off somebody that they probably weren't expecting. I'm not sure what team that might be. Maybe that's, maybe they scare Indiana again. Maybe
hmm
they beat Michigan. Something like that could happen with Penn State.
No, outside of Ohio State and Indiana, I would argue that Penn State probably has the highest floor in the Big Ten. And if you catch a team playing their C game, you're not going to play a C game. And so like I think that's going to work in Penn State's favor for a solid season.
And speaking of C games, who do we got for the Big 12?
There are a lot of C games. Yeah. I went with Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Just and like a lot of it really does deal with like Eric Morris, Drew Mestamaker, and this and like everything you're bringing in from North Texas. To your point earlier when you were talking about the ACC, I don't know if this team can play a lick of defense. Like, and they probably can't. But I think that there's a lot of teams in the Big 12 that are thinking about contending that they could probably outscore. I think that that's very much in the cards. Like, if you were to get into a fight with Utah, whose defense has like tailed off in the past couple years, like I trust the Eric Morris offense more than I do Devin Dampier and Morgan Scalley. Like, I think that they could definitely do something like that.
The vibes have been better in Salt Lake.
hmm
I'm not feeling very good about the Utes right now. I feel like it was kind of a
Yeah.
coup,
Yeah.
apparently.
It seems a little more nefarious than we thought it was.
Like putting in someone spiking their swing.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
This is amazing. This is Have you ever had a vodka soda before? I also had Oklahoma State listed here. I think looking at them on the schedule, this is not just a doormat anymore.
hmm
I think they're going to put a scare in Oregon in week two. I
Oh,
don't think they're going to
100%.
win. I don't think they're going to win, but there's going to be some sort of stuff like, oh, crap, can't figure this out.
Not
Um,
dissimilar to like 2024, the Boise State Oregon game where Boise State
yeah,
really put a scare in. Like, I think it could be something similar where like Boise State's clearly not as good of a team as Oregon was in that year. Like, they had Ashton Genty, and like, I think you have two guys who are legit playmakers in Mestamaker, and I'm totally blanking on the running back's name, but he's good.
blanket on it. Wyatt Young's the receiver. I'm blanking on the running backs. I think it's no. Is it Noah Brown? It might be Noah Brown.
No, it's some. Oh God, hold on. Let's see. Oklahoma State running
Yeah,
back. Bam. Caleb Hawkins. That's who I'm
there we
talking
go.
about. Caleb
Yeah,
Hawkins. There we go.
that was not Noah Brown. That's his nickname. He's Noah Brown, dude.
Caleb Noah Brown Hawkins. We know him. We know him well.
100%. Oklahoma State could have a year like 24 Arizona State where they go worst to first. That's not out of the realm of possibility, particularly with Texas Tech potentially pulling back.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I like we're looking at BYU as like someone who's going to run through that conference, but like it's far more wide open than that for sure.
I've also got the Houston Cougars here. Again, I
hmm
can't quit them. I think that Willie Fritz is a good head coach, a great head coach.
hmm
They're going to play up a little bit here. I think that there's a power void in the top quartile of the Big 12 and they could take advantage of it. But I kind of view them as Louisville. I'm like, maybe they can get to Arlington. I don't think they're going to win there.
Yeah. I would see that the same way for sure.
In the SEC.
The SEC, I went with Auburn.
Yeah.
And like Byron Brown isn't going to cause every SEC team problems. Alex Golesh is not going to cause every SEC team problems, but I think there's some that he can cause some problems for. I mean, this is pretty like I think Alex Galesh runs this offense better than Josh Heupel does because of and specifically because of Byron Brown. Like I think the mobility of Byron Brown in comparison to what you've seen at Tennessee adds a new element. Like you kind of saw it with Hendon Hooker at Tennessee, and we saw how many problems that caused defenses when they were trying to figure out this thing. And so like I think the combination of Galesh and Byron Brown, like I don't think this roster's talented enough to even make it to Atlanta. Like I don't think that that's what we're talking about here. But in terms of like Auburn getting people down on the plains and like giving someone a scare or like actually upsetting one, I think they have the right components to definitely do that and like essentially appease the Auburn fan base more than they have been.
I have Auburn listed as well, as one of my two. I feel like look, Byron Brown's either going to work or it's going to fail miserably. I think
Yes.
Golish will be able to figure it out a little bit. I think there's like a 9-win ceiling. I think you do luck out that you get both Georgia and Alabama at home. Maybe you
Hmm.
can scare one of them. I kind of feel that there's just the culture is just so bad here that like you got to flush it out. You'll be viable, but
Yeah.
like I don't see them like winning enough games to be in playoff contention, but they can finish the year ranked. That's not out of the realm of possibility here. And you bring up a good point with Josh Heupel. Okay, so you obviously played soccer and
Hmm.
lacrosse, and I played baseball and lacrosse. At what point, how old were you when you went from like rubber spikes to like metal spikes?
God. Well, soccer you can't really use metal spikes. Lacrosse I didn't start playing until eighth grade, so I think it was all rubber, but I think like a little bit earlier than that you're using metal.
Okay, so I was like, I played baseball and I went from like, I went to metal spikes like seventh or eighth grade. I think seventh grade is
Okay.
when I first did that. Lacrosse didn't really want you to. I think varsity, you could get away with it. I wasn't on there, so I was doing rubber spikes out there. But it's like, they're sliding into second and, some guys like you're like, oh, I'm getting like a gummy bite, or else I'm bleeding like a pig all over my
That's
mosquito.
right.
Man, but yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I feel like with Golesh, like the offense has a little bit more bite than Heupel, where it's just like you got to evolve here, man. And I don't
Mhm.
necessarily know that he wants to, or is going to, or cares to. And it's
Or is capable. Who could say, you know?
no, 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 man. The other team I had on here was Florida.
Yeah, and I think that's very fair.
I think the big thing is here, they got to win enough games here because John Summerall's going to wear people out. I feel like he's just so incredibly negative in the building.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think the big key here is Buster Faulkner. You bring Aaron Philo over with you from Georgia Tech.
Hmm.
I think he's going to put Philo in situations to where like he can succeed, but the offense will be muted. There may be
Hmm.
games where he needs to take over. I don't think he's necessarily ready. He's played a couple of games over the last few years when Haynes King was hurt, but like Florida, let me put it this way: if Georgia was playing Florida and Tampa this year as opposed to Atlanta while Jacksonville's being renovated, that could be problematic for the Dogs.
I mean, if you were to compare Florida to Georgia Tech prior to 2025, I don't think that's dissimilar. Where
Right.
like they're just a threat every time out. They may not like win the AC, they may not win the SEC, like they might not be that like high of ceiling, but like they're gonna do what they do, and like that's gonna cause some teams some problems.
Yeah, they got some good Tech vibes here.
100%.
And let's get out of here with some good bull here, man.
Yes, sir.
Tee us up for this. What are we doing?
So we were trying to find one more segment. It is the off-season news is sometimes hard to come by, but the Kentucky Derby was on Saturday, and I thought, you know what? Let's name some racehorses after college football figures. So we each have. I have three names. I think I said to three names to you as well. But let's. I'll let you start it. Kick us off. We've got three racehorse names that are college football themed.
This one we call he goes by Triple G because apparently Remington's too hard to spell. Remy's too sissy. We've got Gundy's Galloping Gator.
Damn right we do, and I'm putting all my money on them.
To finish last because like
He hasn't actually trained this horse at all, but it's there.
um uh yeah, it kind of ends for Gator like it did for Gator Tillman and Fargo. Just nowhere to be seen, man.
Correct. Yeah, never found again.
All right, what's your first one?
Shout outs to the old ball coach. I went with post game Arby's as the name of my first horse because nothing hits quite like post game Arby's, and nothing puts a smile on your face quite like post game Arby's, as we have photographic evidence of with Steve Spurrier.
Pour one out. They got rid of by Arby's by my mom's house.
Dude, they got rid of the Arby's near me too. Well, I no longer have the meat, so I'm upset.
I'm in Atlanta, man. Like you have these everywhere.
Right.
But I think they wanted to like reno the whole thing here too. And then there's a bougie one up by yeah, by the Avenue.
Hell
And
yeah.
there used to be a Dairy Queen. They got rid of that there too because Dairy Queen's just for low class individuals or kids.
Nothing bougie about the Dairy Queen. I do enjoy a Blizzard, but no.
Yeah. The cinnamon crunch dip cone has my intrigue, although I can't eat cereal anymore. More my body rejects it.
Hey, we are gonna stop eating cereal at some point.
No, we gotta get to stop at some point. My next one here, runs on Runza. I also saw somewhere that has like a Runza flavored ice cream. And someone's like, "What's that?" It's like it's a meat pot. It's a Polish hot pocket.
That's incredible. Runs on Runs is awesome. I love it so
Uh,
much.
but that should be one. But I've got Rules Reign of Fire, spelled REIGN of fire, and that thing runs on Runza. He goes by Runza.
100%. Oh my God. My honorable mention for this was Hey Bubba. So
All right, what's your next one?
uh
Runs on Runza is better, dude.
oh, Runs on Runs is awesome. I love it so much.
I'm gonna cross that out. That's better, dude.
We're gonna shout out our boy Urban Meyer with this one, and we're gonna keep it simple. Second horse name is Chop House. And I'm not gonna elaborate further on that, but just Chop House.
Um, Chop House. Yeah, he's the lead rider of that racetrack.
Yes, sir.
And my last one's the best one. I came to make a bang with this one here, man.
Please do.
I haven't had enough Lane Kiffin slander on the show, but I've got this next one's called spinning $720 at zero. He gets my pulse check.
That's right. That's good. I love it.
What do you think that is now in today's dollars? Like $1,000?
Honestly, in this economy, that might be double. It might be 1,400. We're talking here.
Oh man, that was in Memphis too. If that would have been sold anywhere else, it'd be even more expensive. So we're talking
Oh,
like $2,000 worth of Zara.
Zara, the Zara bill is going through the roof.
Oh yeah, man. What's your last one?
My last one I kept it super simple. First one I wrote down, I still think it's the best one. No one gets from point A to point B like JT Daniels. And so that's the name of this horse is JT Daniels. It's our transfer portal king. Always move, always on the move, and that's what I want my racehorse doing.
Turtlenecks and boot rings, and this is
That's right.
false start.
That's right.
Uh, I had him going number one overall in that draft.
Hey, you know what? There was a time. There was a time.
I feel good for you though. This year you're going to be all in on like Arch Manning because last year was Good Nussman, the year before is Quinn Ewers. So I don't think Arch Manning's going to go in the seventh round. So that's really good for you.
You know what? Never say never. We'll see what happens. I still believe in Quinn. I still believe in Nuss. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the side piece with Lenore Sellers. That's our seventh round guy.
No, that the other ones are all side pieces. Lenoris is the one I go home to at night for sure.
And when he closes his eyes, he's enough it's day or night. But this was episode 271 of False Start. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter at X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at the Sizzle20. You can follow the show at CFB False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. Give us a five-star review. If you would have had five more horses, it would have been a hell of a time, but we didn't have enough time for that today, and that's okay.
Yeah, I almost named one motorcycle drive-by for Bobby Petrino.
Um, I almost named one for like the bridge in Monkey Wrench where just Dave Grohl screams. Like that's the horse's name, but it's just it goes by Monkey Wrench.
Just the lyrics to Jeremy by Pearl Jam.
That's a mood killer. Uh, oh God.
Half of them are inaudible, and everything you do here is depressing. So yeah.
Half the thing, half the things I say are inaudible, but maybe it's not depressing because this is false start.